What's up guys, Alex from FIFA Scouting Tips here, and welcome to Season 2 Episode 7 of Pompey Youth Stars. I'm really sorry for the late upload. I know it's been a while since I uploaded a video in this series. I've just been so busy with all kinds of things, with work, social stuff, all kinds of things going on, so I haven't been able to get much up recently, so I am sorry about that. But anyway, we are on with this episode now, and as you can see from the timeline up at the top left, we are in the transfer period. So I've been looking around for some players who I think might bring something to the club, and let's have a look at who I've spotted so far. Okay, so I scouted a few players for a while. Here are some of the players who I've picked out. Obviously there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to afford this guy, but just look at some of those insane stats. 85 acceleration, 82 sprint speed, 81 strength as well, he's strong as well as fast, 87 stamina, 85 short passing, 84 stand tackle, 80 slide tackle, 82 ball control. This guy is just incredible, he is insane. Plays for Barcelona. They really found a real gem with this guy. Look at some of his other stats as well. 5-star skill moves as well, and he's 6 foot, so he's a decent size. What a player. I did inquire for him, and guess how much they wanted? They wanted £28 million for him. Somehow I don't think I can afford him on my budget of £2 million, so he's out the window. But aside from that, there's another fantastic player in this guy here, Nathaniel Dos Santos, 77 rating at just 20 years old. Really fast, 86 sprint speed, good stamina as well, great passing, good shooting as well, and great dribbling too. What a player this is. Just like the last guy, he's got good skill moves. This time he's got 4-star skill moves and 3-star weak foot as well. Fantastic player, but again, way too expensive as you would expect. They want £10 million for him, so there's nothing I can really do about that. But on the cheaper side, I have found a few players who I think could really benefit the club. This guy, Hiroki Tasaka, I know I have midfielders who are rated better than 63, but the thing about this guy is when I inquired for him, they only wanted £40,000 for him. Most players of this ability at that sort of age, you're going to expect a few £100,000, maybe as much as £500,000, but they only wanted £40,000 for him. He's a very well-rounded player. Looks like he could be a pretty good addition to the middle of the midfield. At the moment in central midfield, apart from Sobby and Quinton, who are really good, I have two attacking midfielders. I don't have any more defensive midfielders, so this guy could be a good backup to those players, so I want to add him to the squad. At £40,000 I can't really turn that down. Then I know some of you guys were saying we need some quick players. Well, I found this guy here, Samuel Ajay Boateng, 67 overall at 19 years old, 88 acceleration and 81 sprint speed. Fantastic winger. 74 dribbling as well, so he should be a really useful addition to the squad as well, and he is just £525,000 they want from him. I looked at a few other midfielders around this sort of ability at that age, and we're talking a few million, £2 to £3 million to that sort of rating, so he is a real bargain, so I think I'm going to make a move for him as well. And then finally, we need another quick attacker. We've only really got Bong, all the other attackers are pretty slow, so I found this guy here, Antonio Palombo, 69 overall at 19 years old. Some really good pace stats, 85 acceleration and 80 sprint speed, a bit like Zwinkels before him and Bong as well. And what you often get with centre forwards is they're really good at dribbling but not very good at finishing, but not this guy. He has 75 finishing, so he's going to be really good up front, should put away a lot of chances. I inquired about him, they want £650,000, despite his value actually being £725,000, so he's less than what my scout reckons he should cost, which is always a bonus. Other strikers at that sort of range, at that age, again, like Boateng, they're costing millions, £3 to £4 million, so less than $1 million, almost $500,000. Fantastic price for a player of that ability, so I will definitely make a move for him. If you can consider that Twinkles is also 19 but rated 70, and they want £11 million for him, £650,000 for Palombo is such a fantastic bargain. So these are the 3 players there, Palombo, Boateng and Tasaka, that I'm going to have a look at and see if we can get a good deal for them. Okay, so I realised I said it slightly wrong. It wasn't 40,000, it was 140,000 for Tasaka, but that is still a fantastic bargain. So never mind that. 140,000, brilliant bargain for him. Other good news, Paulette has accepted his contract offer, so that is fantastic news. He's going to be really happy now, hopefully. Should stay on for a few more years, so we can get rid of that. Right, so let's put in some bids for these players. So first up we have Tasaka, and they want 140,000. To be honest, I don't really want to risk losing him at that kind of that cheap bargain. I can definitely afford that, so I'll just straight up accept that. 140,000. They should accept that straight away, hopefully. Then we have Palombo, £650,000. I don't reckon we need to pay the full amount for that. Teams are often willing to negotiate a lower price for a player, so I think I'm going to try 575,000, something like that. A little bit below what they wanted. Hopefully they'll accept, or we could just do a bit of negotiation. Hopefully they won't reject it outright. And then finally we have Ajay Boateng, 525,000. I reckon something a bit lower than that, maybe 400. Yeah, 470,000 I think is good. Right, so let's send that off. Hopefully all three will be accepted and we'll have 3 new players to talk about soon. Okay, brilliant news straight away, all 3 accepted. That is exactly what we're looking for. To Saka, not too surprising, seeing as I just sent an offer for the amount they wanted. So let's offer him what he's asking for, £3,000, 4 years. Looks good to me, so we'll send that one off quickly. Then we have up next Palombo from Parma. His wages are £7,000 and 4-year contract. Again, we will accept that. I've realised I'm going to have to adjust the budget to put more wages in there to afford these players. We'll be fine on the transfer budget though. So we'll send that one off and hopefully he'll accept that. And then finally we have Boateng at Marseille and he is on £8,000. Another reason why we need to adjust the budget. Again, 4-year contract, that's good enough. And I will send that one off. So yeah, hopefully all those 3 players will accept those contract offers. Right, then up next we have this match against Sheffield Wednesday, and I am actually going to sim this one because if we go and look at the table, you can see we're in 4th place on 42 points, doing really well. Only 2 points off another automatic promotion spot, but Sheffield Wednesday all the way down in 12th place on 35 points. So not too fussed about that. I want to get this game out of the way quickly so we can move on to the transfers. Just moving down the table, show you some of the other teams and their positions. So I will really only be playing games, I think, at the moment against top teams who are going to present a bit of a challenge, just to keep it interesting and so we can move on through the season fairly swiftly. So let's get on and sim this game, and then hopefully we can move on to those transfers. So, like I said, we want to try and get a win here. I've stuck with the same squad as before. With Paula and Bong up front, we should hopefully get a good result. And we get a 2-2 draw, so not too bad. But with those strikers up front, I kind of hope for a better result. But never mind, let's see if we have any news about those transfers. Okay, bad news. All 3 players have declined their contracts. Ajay Boateng says that he wants to understand the role that he'll have at the club. So let's have a look. So his wages are fine, that's good. We don't want to spend much more on wages. Squad role. Usually what I do with this sort of thing is I offer as low as I think they're going to accept, and then work my way up from there. It's better to give someone a lower squad role because then their expectations aren't so high, and if you have to rest them, they don't complain. So he is currently a sporadic first team player, so he probably won't accept that again. So if I move 1 notch up to squad rotation player, let's give that a go, see if he accepts that one. Hopefully he will. Up next we have Saka, who also says he wants to understand the role. He's a future first team player, so we could probably get away with sporadic perhaps because it's a step up for him. So we'll keep the wage the same and we'll try sporadic first team player, and hopefully that'll be enough for him to accept. And then finally we have Palombo, who's a little bit different this time. He says he loves living here and does not want to relocate but could be persuaded. So basically I've got to offer him better conditions. He's not talking about a squad role this time, so I'm going to offer him a 5-year contract, bump up his wages a little bit. Don't want to put him up too much because it might be cutting it a little bit fine. Let's try something like that, 5 years. Hopefully he'll accept that. We don't need to worry about the squad role this time. So that's all 3 players with better contracts being offered to them. Let's see if they will accept those ones instead. Okay, bad news from Saka. He wants to have a bigger squad role. So even though he was only a future first team player at his current team, he wants to be bigger than sporadic first team player. So we'll try a squad rotation player. Don't want to go too much higher than that because he isn't rated hugely highly, but hopefully that'll be enough for him. Okay, more bad news. Palombo has not accepted. He's still saying he loves living where he is in Italy. So 8,400 I think it was is not enough. I think I'll go 9,000 absolute max. I can't really afford much more than that though, simply because of what our budget situation will be. So we'll give that a try. I really do want to have him on the team though because he's a really good player. So hopefully this will persuade him. Then we also have Ajay Boateng coming up as well. And he says he wants to have a bigger squad role, so we offered him the squad rotation role, which wasn't high enough, so he wants to be an important first team player. Again, to be fair, he is a very good player, so I'll probably be using him quite a lot. So let's submit that. Again, I don't really want to go too much higher because if I offer him a crucial first team player, he may get too disappointed if he doesn't play. So hopefully these players will now accept these offers. Right, up next we have a match against Middlesbrough. They're not too close to us, so I am going to sim this one again. But before we do that, we have a couple of scouting reports. First up from Lee, scouting in Canada, and we have Callum Jackson 52 to 72, definitely turning him down. Carl Jackson 56 to 76, another Jackson, and another one to be rejected, not very good. Marcel Gagnon Lapare, 66 to 88 potential, could be in the mid to high 70s. That's fairly decent. I think I'm going to scout him for another month, see how he turns out. Then we have Michael O'Connor, 56 to 76, again another terrible player, and Simeon Ferguson 55 to 75, again really bad. So one potentially good player in there. We will look at him for one more month. And then we have Demidov's report from England, and we have James Simonson, sorry, can't even speak, 52 to 72, not very good, turning him down. James Ibire 62 to 84, could be alright, I guess. Probably won't be, probably will be in the early 70s, his potential, but I'll still look at him for another month just to be on the safe side. And finally, Scott Richards 59 to 83, again similar sort of potential as Ibire, so I will look at him again for another month, but again I don't think he's going to be too good, but we will wait and see. He could be alright, you never know. So we now have this match against Middlesbrough. It is away, and away games are always quite tough in this game, so I'm anticipating quite a difficult game. And Middlesbrough are a good team as well, but we draw 1-1, so it could be worse, I guess. That's not too bad. Wallace getting the important goal, and so a 1-1 draw is not bad at all. However, after that we have a bit of bad news. Tasaka says he loves living here and does not want to relocate ideally, but could be persuaded, so we're going to have to offer him a slightly better contract. We were offering him squad rotation player role. We're going to go for 5 years, I think. I don't really want to spend much more on wages because it's going to be quite tight with the budget, but he's a defensive midfielder, so he's unlikely to score, but I might offer him a 5% bonus just in case he does, because it's not going to make much difference and it'll only come into play if he plays really well. So that's a fairly good way to increase your chances of getting a player without having to risk too much. So we will try that, and hopefully that will be good enough for him. Okay, we've got some good news and some bad news. Some of these players are being really stubborn. Tasaka and Palombo just not accepting their contracts. Good news, Ajay Boateng has accepted. Fantastic news with him. So Tasaka, let's see what we can do. He says he loves living here. This contract wasn't good enough for him, so we will put in some of the things we did before. So squad rotation, 5 years, 5%. Let's try offering him, I don't know, £700 extra a month. Hopefully that'll be enough. And I guess the thing about this guy is his wages are being made up for by his low cost, his low transfer fee, sorry. So hopefully this will be worth it. So let's say submit offer and send that off for him. Then we have Palombo, loves living here, really does, really hard to convince this guy to come over. We will, actually not going to offer him a squad role just yet because he hasn't asked for one yet. So again, we'll offer him a 5% one. It's a bit more of a risk with a striker, but 5% isn't a huge amount, so it's not like we're going to offer him 15% or anything like that. He just rejected £9,000, which is quite a lot. I don't think we can really afford to offer much more than that, considering that Ajay Boateng has £8,000 in wages, and we're currently offering Tasaka almost £4,000. So that takes up £12,000. So let's say if we go to £10,000, sorry, 10,000, that leaves us with 14,000. That's just about enough to be able to afford the other players. So I think I'm going to have to go for that. That will be the absolute max. I just really cannot afford any more than that. So fingers crossed that this guy accepts. So that's those two done. And good news, finally, with these transfers, they have been really difficult, but finally Ajay Boateng has accepted. So we will sign him up, and hopefully he's going to be a really important player for the team now. Okay, bad news, Palombo just will not accept. I just can't afford to spend any more money on him, despite how good he is, which is really frustrating. So I think I'm just going to have to give up on him. Okay, at least we have had one piece of good news here. Tasaka has accepted, so that makes him and Ajay Boateng having signed up for us, which is really good. So hopefully again he's going to become an important player in the team. So a few of you guys may remember a few episodes ago I found a really good looking striker called Jenison Bennett, played for West Ham, was rated in the sort of mid 60s. I just sent off an inquiry for them to West Ham to see how much he'd be, and look at that, £160,000. We already know he's a pretty good striker because, like I said, rated in the mid 60s. So £160,000, that is going to be a really good, really tempting offer. hopefully it'll be a good alternative to Palombo, so I'm going to send that off. I don't really have time to negotiate because we're coming to the end of the month, so £160,000 is still a fantastic offer. £6,000 in wages, hopefully he'll be a bit cheaper in wages as well than Palombo. And also we won't have the issue of him saying that he loves where he's living, doesn't want to move country because he's already in England. So fingers crossed this is going to be a bit more successful than our attempt to get Palombo. Right, great news. West Ham accepted that offer as we kind of expected they would. So let's go in for this guy. Let's not really take any risks here. I'm going to put in contract length for 5 years. Hopefully that'll tempt him a bit. Don't want to raise the wages too much just yet because he may just accept £6,000. But offering him 5-year contract length just makes him a bit more likely to accept. So hopefully he will do that and we'll be able to get him signed up nice and quick. Okay, more frustrating news. Jenson Bennett has turned down his contract offer. Wants to understand the role he has at the club. I think we're going to have to go fairly high with this because we're in the transfer deadline day. We just don't really have enough time. So we'll go for important first team player and fingers crossed this will be it. Okay, I just spotted we've got a little notification coming up there. 3 hours left to go. Please, can this be... Oh, good, it is. Thank God. 3 hours left on the transfer deadline day, and Benson, sorry, I can't even say his name, I'm so stressed out. Jenson Bennett has accepted his contract, finally. We've got 3 players that we wanted. We got a striker, got a central midfielder, and we got a wide midfielder as well. They're all hopefully going to be really awesome players of the team. Got some really good bargains, to be fair. Bennett for £160,000, to Saka for £140,000, really good deals. So hopefully those are all going to be great transfers, and look how late we left it, 3 hours on deadline day. Don't really want to do that again next time because that was pretty stressful. But I've also just noticed in the top deals, O'Neill at Burnley, £20 million to Valencia. That's not a deal you see every day. So that's all our transfer activity concluded, I think. There's not enough time to do anything else anyway, so I think those players are going to be pretty good. So let's have a quick look at those players. We have Hiroki to Saka, 63 overall. Fairly solid defensive midfielder, should provide an extra bit of cover for Quintin and Sobby. So that should be a really good addition to the team. Then have Ajay Boateng. As you well know, our wingers aren't the fastest, so he's going to add some real pace on the flanks. Really good rating for his age as well. Then finally, Jenson Bennett. Like I said, this player is one who I've looked at before. A few episodes ago, rated 67, which is actually higher than I was expecting, which is really good to see. 72 finishing, very decent pace, 79 acceleration, so hopefully he'll provide a good bit of partnership for Bong up front and should add to our goal tally as well for the league. So that was a good bit of transfer business, just wish I hadn't left it so late. Okay, so it's first of the month, and that means it's time to look at how our players are growing. Mark Doherty on 76, plus 1 point. Then David Brown 67 plus 4, looking fantastic. Liam Osborne 63 plus 1. Then Aymeric Bovaga 66 plus 4, he has grown 66 at just 16 years old. What a fantastic stat that is. 78 heading, that's really growing nicely. Paddy Malloy also up 4 points to 60, and that means we can now see whether he has any potential status, but unfortunately he doesn't. That means his potential is under 80, but at the way he's growing at the moment, 4 points already, I'd say that he must have a potential in the high 70s, so that's still pretty good, pretty happy with that. Then Joe Hayes 58 plus 1. Brad Knight barely growing at all, which is unusual for him considering how well he did last year. Mohamed Sobby though is growing 68 plus 3, and then so is Dylan Quintin on 70 plus 3 at 18 years old. Frederick Mathis 62 plus 1, and alongside him James Smith 61 plus 1, both of them growing quite slowly. Andrew Robson 64 plus 4, he is growing very quickly though. Good heading, good shooting, and good shot power, as well as good ball control, so very good striker there for us. Darren Paulett, speaking of good strikers, 77 at 17 years old, 89 dribbling, 97 ball control, 78 finishing. He's good at passing as well and shooting from distance. What an amazing player. He is just absolutely fantastic, and he can take free kicks as well. There's pretty much nothing he can't do going forward. Then we have Calvin Bong. He has grown a point to 71 plus 2 now. Fantastic striker for me. Scored 9 goals in 26 appearances. That's pretty good. Very happy with him. Then we have Yuri Lodigan up 3 points to 65. Very good winger. And Michael Pender up 3 points to 71. Probably better suited to attacking midfield or central midfield given his passing and shooting, and he isn't that quick, but he's a very good player. Then we have Nicholas Abdelhamid on 66 plus 3, another 66 rated 16-year-old, very good player for that. Then we have Dimitri Guarassi, 65 plus 3, very good dribbling. He is that type of centre forward that I was talking about earlier, who is very good at dribbling but not great at finishing, so his best position is just behind the main striker really, I think. Then we have a new player, Hiroki Tasaka. Unfortunately, hasn't grown in any stats at all, which is kind of a little bit worrying. When you buy a player, their potential can shift all over the place. Sometimes they can go really, really low. I'm really hoping that hasn't happened to him this month. This month is just an exception, and that he will start growing next month. Fingers crossed for that. But then we have Ajay Boateng, who has grown. He's now on 68, a couple of points of growth all round, which is good to see. Then Jensen Bennett on 67, hasn't grown any overall points yet, but he is growing in stats, even though it is in defensive stats, which is a bit stupid, but never mind, he is growing at least, so he's doing okay. We have a few real players in here, so I'll skip quickly past them. Then we have our players out on loan. Angus Hickford, barely growing in physical stats, which is pretty stupid for a goalkeeper, but his diving has at least grown 1 point, so we have a little bit of progress there with him. Then Curtis Simpson up an extra point to 52 now, so obviously very bad technical stats, but his physical stats are what we were looking for, and they are growing quite nicely. Then Pimentel still stuck on 60, no surprise there given how badly he's been growing recently. And then finally Mitsuharu Paulo Daniel on 64 plus 3 points, so that is our roundup of our player growth this month. Some good stuff in there, pretty good amount of growth, and some of our new players have grown, just a little bit concerned about Tasaka. Right, in our next game we have Leyton Orient, and they are hovering dangerously above the relegation zone, so hopefully we can get a win. I've decided to put some of our new players out, Ajay Boateng, Bennett and Tasaka, and good start, we win 2-0, so that was a pretty good result, and our new players hopefully did okay as well. Right, so we have Murphin's scouting report for February now, and we have just one player, Juan Pablo in Uruguay, 61 to 81. Unfortunately, not really very good, probably going to have early 70s potential, so I'm going to turn him down. Pretty disappointing report that, only one player on there. But we also have a message here from Dimitri Guarassi. May we discuss wages? Let's go and have a look at what he wants. Okay, he is currently on £500. He wants £2,000, so 1,500 extra, not a huge amount. And he is showing great potential as well, I think, so he is a very promising young player. So obviously I want to keep hold of him. So I don't mind bumping that up. He's not a player who I want to get rid of early, so we will do that, and hopefully he'll accept that now. Hey, I thought our new players must have done alright. Samuel Ajay Boateng got in the team of the week, as did Liam Osborne, after that 2-0 win against Leyton Orient. So that's really good to see, having a new player getting straight into the team of the week. So hopefully that will continue. Okay, so we've just about got time for this match against Brighton. Like in the last game, they're not very high up the table, they're right near the bottom, so I'm going to send this one. Away from home though, so it could not, can't really take anything for granted, and yet we lose 1-0. I really shouldn't have said that, should I? So 1-0 loss away against Brighton, very disappointing result that. Right then, here is a quick reminder of our youth squad before I finish this episode. We have Danny Corrie, 44 to 46 overall and 75 to 81, physically strong defender. Then Keaton Nichols, 72 to 78, playmaker in central midfield. Levette Goncalves, 71 to 75, defensive-minded fullback, so he is going to be a centre-back basically, and he is 6'5", don't forget. Martin DeWitt, 73 to 79, playmaker in central midfield. Michael Coyne, 74 to 80, physically strong striker, should give us a bit of something different. 6'4" as well, 194 pounds. He is going to be massive, so he looks really good. Ryan Green, 73 to 87. Not really sure where he plays, but he is 6'7". Talking of massive, he's going to be even bigger, so he should be a real threat wherever he ends up. And then finally, Shuttleworth Vitalen, 71 to 75, playmaker in central midfield. So that is how our youth academy is shaping up. Okay, a piece of good news, Guarassi has accepted his contract, so a nice little boost after that last disappointing result against Brighton. So we do have a match against Bolton next, but unfortunately I've run out of time, so I will have to do that next time. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure you enter the Scouting God contest this month. As we saw a little while ago, I have a couple of 16-year-old players rated 66, and the competition this month is on best 16-year-old players. So if you reckon you can do better than that, finding any good 16-year-old players in your youth academy, make sure you take a picture of them, either when they're in the academy or just after they've been promoted, so there's no stat growth, just to keep it fair for everyone. Take a picture of that, send it over to @FIFA Scouting on Twitter using the hashtag ScoutingGod. or you can submit it on Facebook, which is facebook.com/FIFA Scouting Tips, or you can put a link to your image in the comments below and I'll have a look at that, or you can even submit it on FIFAscoutingtips.com. The deadline for that is the end of the month, so you got a little bit of time, but make sure you get scouting and find some good players. Also on FIFAscoutingtips.com, I am currently taking sign-ups for a newsletter. What I'm basically going to be doing is sending out a weekly newsletter with a roundup of all the articles and videos I published that week, as well as my own personal recommendations on certain players. So if one week in the squad update a player has had a massive potential boost, or they have been added to the game, a young player with high potential, I'll be having that in there, a little piece about them, their cost, their potential, what they're good at doing, that kind of stuff. So you get the inside track on the best players every week with the new squad updates. So if you've got any suggestions for things you want me to put into the newsletter as well, let me know and I'll work on getting that done. But if you go to FIFAscoutingtips.com, there should be a box to sign up to the newsletter. It should appear when you get to the website. If not, there'll be one on the right hand side in the sidebar, so look for that as well. Make sure you sign up to that because I'm going to start doing that pretty soon. So if you have any suggestions for that, or for anything else for all these videos, anything you think I should do in the next video, or different series you want me to do, anything like that, keep your comments coming. I do read them all and I try and put them into action as much as I can. I love reading them all, so keep that going. Like I said, make sure you enter the Scouting God contest. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video as well, and thanks for watching. Good opportunity, but again, another massive bong hit after the last game. Bong getting a huge elbow in the face there. I don't know what it is about him, but he seems to be a marked man.